everyone is smiling. I know I should be happy too, but I'm dying. I'm dying. Because Gary Nolan blocks me. The world is crumbling all around me. I wanted Gary to tell me what aliens are planning.
What up, y'all?
And I can't blow.
We're gonna get started here pretty soon.
Because of all of these scams. And I can't blow out my candles because of all of these scandals. It's a shame. I brought all my homies to the stage.
So Kendrick Lamar basically just toasted the fuck out of Drake. I mean, Drake's done. Drake's gone. Bye. Peace. Peace. His whole squad got fucking scorched. If you saw that, you witnessed history. Dude, what a crazy day. What a crazy day in hip-hop. Mudahar called it hip-hop World War III. That's for sure what that was. Back in the day, Meek Mill dissed Drake. And when Meek Mill did that, Drake fired back at him like back-to-back, gave him 2 shots. Hooked him up with 2 songs back-to-back. Meek Mill basically lost that. That was pretty sad. But then Pusha T came out, and Pusha T's been throwing shade at Drake for years. He has this track called Exodus. I wonder if I can play that without getting yanked here. But he has this track called Exodus, and it is crazy. Pusha T goes after Drake and Lil Wayne and Birdman and Baby. Oh, Pusha T goes after him pretty good. So now everyone, actually, you know what? That beef ended weird because I think there was enough clout that Drake had at the time where it was just a whole thing, and he was able to escape it. But he can't escape what Kendrick Lamar just did. If you guys don't know, I mean, it's a rap beef, but like there was a solid back and forth. And how it went was, I think over the years there's been some beef building. But you get a track dropped by Kendrick, then a track dropped by Drake, and then like 10 minutes after Drake dropped a track, Kendrick just fucking smoked him. Like he had songs just ready to go. Just ready to go. Crazy. So this is history. This is history. If you ever doubted Kendrick Lamar, you're kind of a jackass, my opinion. If you like hip hop and you doubted K-Dot, that was that was a bad move. You don't really get it. Oh my God, dude, Pac's in the building right now. OVO pedo ring, not on my bingo card. Nope. But you know what? Hollywood gets away with so much crazy shit. Do you guys remember the clear, weird texts that Drake had towards that chick, Millie Bobby Brown? She was like fucking 14 or something. Pump the brakes, Drake. Pump the brakes, man. Crazy. Okay, so what is this cube spinning on the screen? And what is this thing on the left? Well, it's a pulsar. It's the Velo, or however you want to pronounce it. I don't know. Up to y'all. But it's that pulsar. And pulsars are defined pretty evenly as like a magnetic anomaly, but gravity's doing its thing as well. And so what I found online through just being bored is a magnetic field simulator. When you start the simulator out, this is what it looks like. It actually looks like this. Let me just correct this for a second. Looks like this. And I do think that this is meant to give electricians an idea of what electricity does, what the magnetic field is doing. And so you see these white particles over here. These are representative of, just particles along a magnetic field line. And on the right of this, you can see that there's field strength and number of particles. So let's just mess with that real quick. Field strength, you notice they're moving faster. I mean, to the keen observer, that's clearly a double helix. Don't ask me, though. Let's look at it from the top down. Yeah, that's for sure what that is. Okay, so, interesting. Let's increase the particles. See if any other patterns show up. Well, just the thing spinning. But interesting, right? And this is why if you put a piece of metal, like a metal rod, in a electrified like glass of mercury, the rod spins. Electricity moves. That's what it's doing. Electricity is essentially magnetic in motion, magnetic fields in motion. It's an interesting thing. Anyway, so how do you get from this to a pulsar? Great questions, guys. You guys are on top of it right now. You do it by switching from the line to looped pair stacked opposing. So this is going to create two basically ring magnets that are stacked on top of each other, and they're opposite one another. Well, right away you can probably see there's a similarity here, right? You can see that I'm gonna cook on this, right? So there's a pulsar, and I'm basically gonna, I guess, kind of back up the physics of it, and also, prove the value of this random magnetic field simulator. Can I make a pulsar with this? Spoiler alert, I wouldn't have started this video if I couldn't. So we're going to try to do that. We're going to do that. If you guys are interested in this, it does kind of reflect some value towards the electric universe. And we can get into that as well, because this mirrors exactly the function of a man named David LaPont. And David LaPont had a YouTube series called The Primer Fields. And the primer fields show you like the structures that create something like this pulsar, along with everything from like a galaxy, a lot of what do they call, like just these structures out in the universe. So let's make a pulsar. All right. Right away, we have some elements of the pulsar. We have these two rings, you can see them there, and they're doing their thing, but it's not really looking like one. And so we're going to just adjust these settings here on the right hand side, and we're going to create one. First of all, let's get the field strength. Let's max it out. Whoa, here we go. We're getting somewhere, right? We're getting somewhere. We're already proving some stuff, because this looks exactly like that. And then we're just going to fuck with the size and the separation. The offset setting we won't fuck with. Watch what it does. See, it's spreading them apart in a very strange way, side to side. That's not going to help us out. Although you can create some really interesting galactic, nebulous kind of structures with that. Look what it's doing. You'll see these out in space. I promise you that. Okay, so let's get the offset down. Here we go. We're making pulsars, boys and girls. So here, okay, we got some jets. What's that going to prove? Not much. Let's figure out what we can do here. And again, what these particles represent are, particles along the magnetic field lines. And so they're interesting to watch. And if you really think about it, a galaxy is essentially these two shapes as well. So we can say that these would also be like the stars, which is pretty cool. So loop size. Watch the jets on what I'm changing, the loop size. The jets become more prominent to the point where they kind of max out. Now it's just like this weird thing. Now it's nothing like a pulsar. So we'll get it back down, and we'll see what the separation does. Far apart, less relation to each other, close together, we're starting to see phenomena form. Particularly, you can see that there's one little dot that stays there. Now, what we can do is we can zoom on this by adjusting this. Now we'll zoom in on this. All right, this is where it gets, I think, kind of fascinating and easier to kind of see some weirdness. But we get over to the angle, and let's just start playing with these again. Let's see what we do with more particles. And one of the things that's characteristic of a pulsar is that it's violent. I mean, it flashes faster than anything they've ever seen. It's rotating, right, super fast. So let's represent that. Let's get the sizes down, and let's see if anything happens to these particles. Does it create anything interesting? Well, what the hell is that? What is that? Okay, let's see if we can get that again. They seem to be kind of condensing to a disk. Isn't that weird? Doesn't that look just like things, like a galaxy or something? I think it does. Let's get the loop size like way the hell up, all the way up. Not all the way up, but let's see if we do that. We'll probably have to separate it more to create the same phenomenon in the middle. They call it like a disc of some kind. I forget what it's called, but out in space. Oh, look at that! Isn't that an interesting structure? That's interesting. Looks just like something out in space. Does it look like a pulsar yet? Not exactly, but it is interesting. Let's just play with it. Now we're getting somewhere. Look at this. I don't know if you guys can see it, so I'm going to zoom way in. Let's increase the particle number. And what you can see is it's kind of violent. It's not stable. That's a better way to put it. You can get it stable, but in reality, it's kind of crazy. Yeah, I think this is super interesting. Okay. That's the distance. Let's increase the size. The size will help us with maybe just kind of magnifying the effect. There we go. Crazy. Crazy. Let's move the angle around and let's zoom out a little bit. Now we can kind of see how small or big those rings were that we're messing with. We'll just try to magnify or exaggerate this effect. Again, you can see this disk that's forming in the middle, which is very reminiscent of a galactic disk. That's how galaxies are formed, ladies and gentlemen. There is an insanely large bowl-shaped magnetic field that concentrates towards the what would be like the base of it, which is what these yellow circles represent. And in between the area of the pole, between these two polarized opposite magnetic field things, is where things can settle in the middle. And that's why you have galaxies and solar systems and planets with moons all have the same thing, which is a disk of objects around it, circling around it. Now, this is, of course, very light. You can really exaggerate this. I hope you guys are down to watch as I kind of play with this. But here now you can clearly see that there's those jets. These jets towards the top and bottom are characteristic of a pulsar. 100%. You can basically see how a lot of shapes out there in space are the result of the size, the strength, and the distance of these two opposing magnetic fields. Crazy, but it's there. Now, originally they talked about look at this. Tell me that's not what that is. They talked about accretion, the thing that formed planets and stars and moons and stuff. But I don't think that's the case at all. I don't think that accretion is essentially how dust become a planet and so on. I don't think that's a real thing. I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist, but I really don't think it's a real thing. There's no way. Because if something is electrified, it will automatically attract, through magnetism, things to it, and it'll just start to function in a system that already exists. The idea of dust collecting over and over again, I think that's crazy talk. But, strangely enough, speaking of crazy talk, I'm not the only person who's backed up this electric universe theory. It's not just me, David LaPont, and David Talbot. It's actually Terrence Howard, the actor who was in Hustle and Flow. He gave an interesting talk at like Cambridge University about math, and in it he talks about how in reality the shape of the universe, not the universe, but these things, the structures we're seeing, are the result of Birkeland currents and magnetic fields, and how that's kind of like coming out. And it is starting to come out. So yeah, basically just nailed it. It takes a little bit of tinkering, but boom. This is essentially a pulsar. And I created a pulsar in the simulator by simply simulating two ring magnets and then like opposing them, flipping them, so that they were spinning in different directions. Now, magnets don't spin, but the magnetic fields cause spin. So like the magnetic fields are moving. Okay. So I created that in a simulator. I maximized the particles that represent the field lines. And that would essentially be, if you were to zoom out onto galactic size, these could be viewed as stars, is how you could view it. And so these are stars. And like, we're looking at something in super fast motion, but it is what it is. Now, the reason why I compare it to a pulsar specifically is because of the characteristics of the jets coming from the south and the north. Now, you can't find another simulator that can, other than a magnetic field simulator, that will do this, that will produce this, the same things that you're seeing out in space. So it tells me anyway, that from the micro to the macro, it's electromagnetism that govern everything, which is weird, because they tell you it's not. But yeah, look at this shit. Let's just zoom in on this and see what kind of other characteristics this object that I just created has, and we'll play with something. I can actually reverse the polarization, or sorry, the magnetic field, so I could just reverse it, and watch what happens when I do that. Now that we have a somewhat stable structure. First of all, we're zooming all the way in. You can clearly see it's stable, but not. Has a lot of things. Oh, whoops! Has a lot of things going on. It's fluctuating. We can slice this. Take a look at this. These are just little slices of it. There we go. Interesting, right? These two shapes, the shape, what look like two kind of bowls sandwiched together, bottom to bottom. If you're a fan of Requiem for a Dream, there's another phrase for bottom to bottom, but there is a clear pattern here. Yeah, and this backs up the work of David LaPont and the primer fields. I'll see if I can stream that in a second. But yeah, this is what it is. And let's see if this does. Sometimes when I hit reverse over here, it does something pretty sick. So check this out. Oh yeah, sick. So there are sightings, UFO sightings of bars of light. I'll try to find one. And so the bars of light are interesting because it's also an effect that you can create with this simulator. All right, so check this out. We got, I'll zoom out just a little bit. There's our pulsar. And then if you reverse the magnetic field, first of all, it looks like an explosion. Let's not ignore that. Look at the shapes that form, like just even from a simulator. And I discovered this website by just Googling some stuff, and it since has, like, this is so weird, but since I found the website, they've changed it. I have to go through all these different hoops to get to this version that does this specific thing. If I go to the updated version, you cannot do this. The particle size is automatically larger. You can't simulate anything like this. So it's just an interesting little gem that exists online. But yeah, reverse it. Boom. Looks like an explosion. And here you have this bar, concentrated beam. And it's funny because it almost looks like it has two sides that are very concentrated. Look up beam of light. I'll try to find those. I didn't have that prepared, but like if you look up beam of light seen in the sky, that's what it looks like. So I wonder how much of what we're seeing is actually electromagnetic phenomena, right? So let's take a look at this again. Our cool structure that we created, somewhat stable, but definitely pulsar-like structure here. Pretty sick. That's pretty dope. But we can look at it in different ways. The particles is one way, but check this out. Field vectors, I can't ascertain anything from this. Field lines, now we're talking. Take a look at this, dudes. Whoever's in the mix. I don't know who's in the comments. Oh, I didn't even see you guys are here. I'm over here spinning around a cube. I see you. I see you in the mix. I didn't realize y'all were here. Good to see everybody. Good to see you guys. All right, this is now we're into Tupa's crazy mind land, but I want you to pay attention to this. So this is the magnetic field lines of the stable structure I just created that looks similar to a pulsar, right? And basically it's two toroids, right? There's a toroid up here, there's a toroid down here. Their behavior is it's very cool looking. But like there's other structures you can make that make this more pronounced, and we'll try to do it. But for now, look at the negative space between these two toroids. Take a look at it. Isn't the negative space between the two toroids similar to something else? Check this out. So here we're looking for these jets. I was going for effect, right? I wanted to make the jets. I wanted to make the kind of butterfly looking thing. And also this is very similar to the plasma shapes that are found on petroglyphs around caves and shit. If you really look at it, it's almost exactly what that is. So let's try to create more of a solar system thing, something big in the middle, but stable. By the way, in the chat, if you haven't caught up to the Hip Hop World War III yet, you're missing out. You guys got to go listen to Kendrick Lamar. Here we go. This looks like something. So now we have less jets, but we have a more pronounced, disc, right? We have a more pronounced disc now. And that's cool. So play around with this, see what we can do with it. Interesting. Whoa. So you see like how clearly you can pass the threshold of stability from like almost ultra stable to nothing. Boom. Now there's just other things going on. It's almost indiscernible, right? But here at this, when the recipe's right, you're getting something. You're getting something fucking almost fantastic. Now let's see like what that looks like in the field lines. So here we're going to change from these particles to field lines. Like in my opinion, I think the negative space between these two toroids is a UFO. It looks like a flying saucer. I think a flying saucer, if you really thought about it, would be nestled perfectly in this space. Chat, what do you think? Is Kent still not here? Dude, I don't... Kimball, we kick Kent. Don't you know? Let's see. We got Poon Summit Vlogs. That's awesome. Chupacabra, check out the black hole, which is very, very near to our solar system. Is there any danger to the planet in the near future? There's always danger to the planet, baby. We're in a hot zone of a hot zone of a hot zone. That's probably why we're all conscious. But yeah, I think the negative space represents a UFO. So really, when you think about it, if you really, I don't know, maybe I'm just a little buzzed or something, but like when you think about it, dude, like if a UFO can create a toroidal magnetic field above it and below it with something inside of it, like maybe, I don't know, Mercury engines that are spinning one ring of Mercury in one direction and another one in another direction, and they're creating these like hyperdimensional magnetic fields. I mean, maybe, for sure. It's for sure what's happening. And so really, if you had something like that, if you had an object that could be nestled right here in between these very forceful lines, right? Then now it's in like a weird drifting little area where it's in a 0G zone. It can't be pulled above or below. And if you can, within the object or the disc or the saucer, if whatever, let's say you were spinning a toroid of Mercury in one way and another one another way, if you were just to tilt that, I bet you it would tilt the magnetic fields and it would cause you to go left or right or up or down, just depending on how you changed, almost like a gyroscope or something. But yeah, I find it interesting. The toroids keep coming up. They keep coming up, man. I don't know if you guys are fans of Doug Vaught, but he's the man. If you like space weather news, you'll like Doug Vaught. That guy loves that dude. R.I.P. by the way. Doug Vaught passed away last year, I found out, which is sad when we're burning one down for Doug tonight. Doug, we're with you, man. You dyed your hair with printer toner, but you were a genius and a G in your own right. Check that shit out if you guys haven't. Doug Vaught. These toroids are definitely the key to everything, is what it seems like. The UFO somehow magically nestled into the middle and the negative part of these two objects, right? That's interesting. A saucer, a disc, bulbous middle, disc-shaped ridges. I'm on board with that. And then over here, you get to the particles, and you see something very interesting. That with this same recipe, you get some weird stability here. Fascinating stuff. And then if you reverse it, you get some Star Wars explosion. That's tight, right? Tell me that's not sick. Let's do it. Let's run it back. There it is. You just had your minds blown. You can create pulsars. You can create all kinds of weird stuff directly with this magnetic field simulator. I think that's sick. Kent says nothing. Kimball says, I believe in you. Kimball's profile picture right now, kind of off the chain. It is wild what Kimball did with his profile picture. But we're here for it. We're here for it. We got Ganga in the mix. We got Lex. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if this is astrophysics or not. I don't know if this is novel or not, but I do know that you can do this just by experimentation. You can create. Look at, do you see it just pop up out of nowhere? Look at this. Tell me this isn't a pulsar. Y'all got me fucked up. Not as fucked up as Drake right now. I just wouldn't want to be Drake right now at all. At all. He might be having a real bad one. Reach out to your friends if they're from Toronto. Take care, guys. I hope you liked this random little stream of this pulsar recreation. You got any questions or debates? I might pop into his spaces later. We'll see. We'll see. We got something in the chat I want to call attention to. Dyeing your hair with printer toner is probably the most legendary thing anybody could ever do in the history of dyeing hair. Yeah. Yeah. Easily. Has someone dyed their hair with squid ink out in the ocean? Might be sick. Might actually stick too. UFO intros, glad you're here. Ganga again. Dude, Ghost, yes, you're in the mix. We got Ocean here. Sorry I didn't shout you out. Dude, OVO, yeah, the PDF files are in the mix over in Toronto. Check on your friends. Black holes for sure. Maybe later on we'll get into Ken Wheeler. You know, Ken Wheeler. There is no spoon. Chat, let me know if you want me to open up a Twitter Spaces or join one you're in after I close the stream out in just a little bit. I think I pretty much showed you guys what I have to show you. I made a pulsar on my computer. And I don't even have one of those sick ass video cards. Think about that. Until next time, guys, I'm gonna play you out with some music that the computer made. It's a hit that I think everybody likes.
What the hell? How does he even know?
Like and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't yet. We're gonna grow that bad boy out.
Everyone is smiling. I know I should be happy.
Compatibles in the mix.
I'm dying. Cause Gary Nolan blocks me. The world is crumbling all around me. I wanted Gary to tell me why he shared Chris Bartell's brain scans on TV. It's my birthday, friends all around. I should feel lucky. But I looked at my phone and seen that Gary Nolan blocked me. What the hell? How does he even know about me? The cake comes out, everyone is smiling. I know I should be happy too, but I'm dying. I'm fucking dying. Because because of all of these scams. And I can't blow out my candles
Peace, guys.
because of all of these scams.